There is nothing that excites Mount & Blade players more than the Crusades. In the Name of Jerusalem is looking absolutely gorgeous, and we are about to take a deep dive into everything this modification offers, because boy, there is so much to explore here. This is In the Name of Jerusalem. I actually have some pretty sad news. I lost my Twitter account last month to hackers. Nearly 7,000 followers and all my contacts within the industry just gone like that. Fortunately, I've managed to set up a new one, but it shows that cybersecurity is more important than ever in 2022. And this is where Aura comes in. Thank you so much to them for sponsoring this video with their all-in-one cybersecurity tool that protects you and your family. In 2020 alone, identity theft cost people in the US $56 billion. Aura will notify you if your personal information, such as ID numbers, has fallen into the wrong hands, and if anyone is using your social security details without your knowing. It comes with a fully protected VPN with military-grade encryption to hide activity from cyber criminals, or even access the internet from other countries if you so wish. Whether it's identity theft, credit and fraud protection, or just safety and the knowledge that your network is secure, Aura has you covered. Thank you once again for them for sponsoring this video. In the Name of Jerusalem is being created and developed by Team Century. They've actually been around the Mount & Blade modding community for quite some time. In fact, they made the In the Name of Jerusalem mod for Mount & Blade Warband, and as you can see, it was a beautiful masterpiece. From the architecture to the armors, from the cavalry charges to the beautiful scenery, to try and recreate the time of the Crusades that we all know and love. Well, apart from the absolute atrocities that went on there, but we're just going to ignore that. They also created the 16th century Northern Hemisphere mod. This was a mod about America and Asia in Mount & Blade Warband during the 16th century. It included some beautiful things, from all the custom armors and weapons to, of course, naval battles and a completely custom map as well. In the Name of Jerusalem for Mount & Blade Warband was released in 2019. It was actually kind of late to the party, almost up to the day of Bannerlord's release as well. But it was still a massive success, introducing us to 1187 AD. Two major religions clashed in the Holy Land. But In the Name of Jerusalem 2 is hoping to expand upon everything the first did. It's of course going into the 12th century, in fact exactly the same time as the first modification. It's a direct sequel if I've ever seen one. But let's take a look at some of the content that's been released by In the Name of Jerusalem 2. This is the first reveal and trailer that we actually ever saw. It's a complete basic work in progress version, so expect a lot to have changed by this point, showing off the beautiful arms and armor that we can come to expect within this Crusader-centric period. Of course, they're bringing back the fantastic culture, not just in the arms and armor, but custom maps that will be implemented alongside all the assets that you would expect. And by God, does it look good on a larger scale. Everything from the axes to the eastern weaponry, the plumed hats and the massive cavalry charges, the dust that sets up into the air as horses stampede alongside the desert. My God, does this look awesome. Of course, it has your regular Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord styling with it. It has everything that the base game had to offer and enhances it within this period. I think the Crusades has become so popular within the Mount & Blade community just because it works so well. It's not too dissimilar to what we get within native, meaning that any assets from arms and armors, even things from the scenery, the architecture, the cities, the villages, they all work perfectly within Mount & Blade itself. Crossbows, archers, cavalry, pikemen, swordsmen, axemen, they're all within the game already. Siege engines as well are going to play a massive part, especially within this modification when you come to conquer the far reaches of the world. I mean, on the ModDB page, it gives us a beautiful example of just how far they're going to take it and how much further they're pushing it from the first game. We get a look at a Bulgarian standard bearer. As of 1187, the Tsardom of Bulgaria is still consolidating, and so is its army. It was still rudimentarily organized and more suited for raiding villages and small towns than conquering cities. But are you going to help that change? Of course, the Cumans are making a return as well, fielding incredibly powerful cavalry. They're going to be fighting as light horse archers, but are used to overwhelm the enemy with sheer numbers and missiles, especially in those open plains that we so know from this time period and this theatre of war. Here we get an incredible look at the Richard the Lionheart character that has been created for this modification. Of course, Bannerlord offers all these custom characters and gives you all the opportunity to change everything from the facial reconstruction to the body type and build, and Richard the Lionheart has been made within the mod itself. And here is his army. I love the cavalry, especially the barding and the chainmail on all the horses as well, and the banners. Banners were such a big part of this time period, and the color. We very rarely get to see the true color and nature of all the standards and arms and armor of this time period. People often portray it as this dark and dingy time, but really it looks like this, and Bannerlord is able to recreate that so well with these bright, vibrant looks. I'm really excited to get in depth with this. Now, this does actually look like a smaller battle. I think we can really push this much further than what we've been shown, but I don't want to step out of line here, but it's quite clear that the mod developer doesn't have the best PC in the mod, so that's probably why it's not being showcased on a larger scale. Of course, it's probably safe to say that Kingdom of Heaven is one of the main reasons that this time period has been so championed by historical fans and medieval fans alike. We are right in the depths of the medieval time period, and it shows us all the peaks of inventions at the time. Everything from new improved armor, the introduction of plate, and of course trebuchets and siege weaponry, fighting against different cultures and trying to find who it is that you're going to side with. Will you play as Richard the Lionheart? Will you be conquering the Crusades, or will you defend the lands that you feel are rightfully yours against these invading forces that are fighting in the name of religion? These are all from quite some time ago now. This video, for example, was posted 9 months ago, and it shows us our first look at the map that we're going to be playing on. Now, Bannerlord has changed a lot, especially the modding scene, as we're going to get onto in a little bit. But this was the first stages of when Bannerlords and its map in general was open to be edited, and we're starting to see the custom map come through, and mostly based around the east and some parts of Europe as well. This is then evolved 5 months ago, so moving forward a little bit to show us what we can now expect. We have the Nile there, North Africa, and it's a very similar map to that of Rome Total War, or Rome 2 Total War, having Italy and Greece, and of course the main focus, which is the east here. So far there aren't any changes to the names that native Bannerlord brings in on all the cities, but I'm expecting that's going to be coming later. All the cities have been placed in their own areas to fit. We can see Constantinople in the top, Rome in the left, Sparta, Athens, of course, where they should be. And it's not over yet. We get one more look at the next level of where this custom map is going. And here we go. Just 3 months ago, everything changed. The factions have now been put in place. The cities are where you'd expect, but they now have the correct names. This is not just an evolution of this mod itself, but showing us the evolution of how Bannerlord and Tailwards have developed it in order to help modders increase the in-depth detail. We even have custom designs like pyramids here, the oases of the north of Africa. It looks goddamn gorgeous, and this is a complete, fully made from scratch custom map that's going to be in the mod in the name of Jerusalem 2 that we will be able to play with and explore to our heart's content. One thing I would say is it looks incredibly busy. There are games that have tried to do something similar to this, like, well, Rome Total War and Rome 2 Total War, but Creative Assembly made the conscious decision not to include every single city and every single fief, because as you can see here, it gets insanely cluttered. Maybe that's something that the mod developers should check out and maybe reconsider, because whether we need all of this, who knows. However, it does really add to the immersion and the feel of it, because you get an idea of where the most populated areas are and why they're the most populated. I love the look of the fields and the crops growing next to the rivers as they would have done throughout history. Now, whether this mod is going to stick solely to being completely historically accurate is yet to be seen, but it looks like they're doing a fantastic job of recreating the size and the scale of the map. We have a little look at the Greek islands of Crete down there, Sparta, Athens, Larissa, Thessalonica. It is all here for your Mountain Blade pleasure. So I will leave you with this. King Philip II, dismounting off horseback in order to stand with his knights to fight in this village battle. And this is the large scale that we can expect, 500 versus 500, and it is an absolute mess. There's always speculation of how did people tell who was on their side at the time, and it is agreed that yes, there were things like banners, colors, shields that would speculate who was your enemy and who was your ally, but often it wasn't all that easy to tell. The main thing was who was standing next to you or who was standing opposed to you would be the best way to tell friend from foe. Unfortunately, with the way Bannerlord works, with its dodgy AI and its loose formations, let's just say, it's incredibly hard to decipher your enemy or your friend when you're playing without banners on this. Hopefully this is something that can be changed, but I am yet to see a true modification that can bring proper shield wars, proper infantry lines to Bannerlord, and I think this is a modification that would especially benefit from it. This modification is becoming incredibly successful. It's starting to really ramp up with its community and it's building a little bit of its own small fan base around it. And I hope that I can somewhat add to that to help support the developers themselves, because all these mods, no matter how in-depth, creative, colorful, custom they become, they're all done for free. They're all done from a passion of mod makers. They don't get paid for this, and whilst they probably get help from other people from time to time, these mod developers are all working together to create content for this game, to grow it, to expand it, and to make it even more worth the money that you paid for it back in the day. There's always been that talk of whether Bannerlord should have released into early access. Is it worth that money at the time? Many people say yes. Many people say it's surpassed Warband, and I'm probably one of them in terms of content. But especially now, especially as Tailworlds are bringing out more and more mod tools, and yes, we have to remember that whilst you might be disappointed in the lack of content from Tailworlds themselves, they are providing the tools in order for other people to make that content for free. That's not necessarily the most admirable thing from a developer, but it has to be said that it is still there. And we're just incredibly lucky. We have people like this that are so passionate about this game that they want to expand it, to increase its value way beyond than anything that it originally was or originally could be without this community. But let me know what you think. Do you think In the Name of Jerusalem is going to live up to the first one? Or if you never played it, does this look like the Crusader mod for you? Let me know down in the comments below. But until then, I will see you in the next one.
Devil by me! Come after me!